the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune and turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. In shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go.
Lovelace looked up from her work and saw the strange fellow in front of her. She looked bewildered by the man's entrance, as if he had simply materialized out of thin air. Who was this? Lovelace thought for a moment and smiled fondly at the memories. She grew up in a time where women were often taught not to be smarter than a man, where ladies were expected to be meek and humble, yet the mathematical equations had always intrigued her. The beauty within numbers and calculations could easily be overlooked, yet she saw it where others could not. Lovelace spoke. The language of numbers was like a puzzle waiting to be solved. I was drawn to their beauty, their precision and order. Lovelace chuckled softly as she recalled the memories with Charles Babbage. Babbage was a brilliant inventor, but his explanations could be hard to follow. Many would give up and say, "It's not possible." However, Lovelace did not. She understood his ideas, and with her way with words, she was able to help Babbage to express his inventions more clearly. They were a good team. She said with a smile, "I found ways to convey his vision so it could be understood by others." Lovelace thought carefully about the question and spoke softly. "I realized that mere mathematical formulas and diagrams would not be enough for the world to understand the potential of the analytical engine. It could do things beyond what a merely mechanical calculator ever could. To make people understand, I had to weave it into words. It was not enough to understand the engine's abilities, I had to get others to understand it too." Lovelace paused and thought for a moment. She was recalling all the memories from that time and space, where Charles Babbage was like an older brother. She spoke. "Babbage's designs were based on pure mathematical calculations and formulas. I added a touch of human creativity to them, allowing the engine to not just calculate, but also to process and execute instructions. I saw possibilities within the engine beyond the basic calculations. I understood that the engine could do so much more, and I wrote about it. I weaved my words so that people could understand the true potential of the engine." Lovelace paused. Algorithms were her bread and butter. She thought and answered. Through my notes, I tried to break down the engine's capabilities into simple instructions which could achieve more than the basic mathematical computations. These algorithms explained how the engine could process data, perform calculations, and even imitate the actions of a human computer. By using my poetic and explanatory skills, I could get others to understand how the engine was truly a tool for much more than just calculations. Lovelace chuckled softly at the reminder of her own capabilities. She paused and she spoke in a soft yet proud voice. I used language to help people envision the analytical engine solving complex equations, not just calculating them. I wrote about how the engine could not only solve basic arithmetic, but also perform more advanced operations such as differential equations and much more. I used words to help others understand that the engine was not just a calculating tool, but also a powerful computer. I showed how the engine was a game changer. Lovelace smiled fondly as the memories rolled through her head like a gentle tide. For Lovelace, mathematics wasn't just a bunch of numbers and formulas, it was like a symphony, each equation, each variable a part of the grand orchestra. And the words she used to explain it, they were like brushes, each one carefully chosen to paint the audience a detailed picture of what she saw in the numbers. She spoke softly. Math and words, they were like different sides of the same coin. Without them, I could not have explained the full picture. Lovelace thought about Babbage, her intellectual companion. She smiled softly at the memories and spoke. Babbage was a pure mathematical genius, his mind filled with endless equations and formulas. I was more than that. Casey. I understood the power behind the numbers. I saw the potential beyond the basic calculations. My linguistic style, my ability to weave words, that's what set me apart. She sighed softly. While he saw the numbers, I saw possibilities. That's what made our collaboration so strong. Lovelace paused, and then spoke. It was an interesting moment when I realized that the engine could repeat certain instructions over and over again, something that we now call looping. This idea was revolutionary, but how to explain it? I had to use my words carefully to ensure people could grasp it. She sighed softly, recalling the past. I carefully explained that the engine could perform certain actions multiple times based on the instructions and conditions I provided in its programs. This concept was the foundation of what we now call conditional statements in programming. Lovelace spoke softly, as if lost in a daydream as she thought about the future of machines. I believe that the right balance of math and language could unlock the potential of machines. By weaving together numbers and equations with the right words, we could create machines far more capable than anything of their time. She smiled softly. Math and language are the building blocks of a new world. A world of machines with endless potential, capable of doing things that were previously thought impossible. I could see it. A future where math and language work together to bring dreams to life. Lovelace thought carefully, considering her unusual but effective writing style. My writing style was as unusual as my mind. I blended my mathematical mind with a touch of linguistic creativity. Numbers and words, they danced together in my writing, forming a rhythm that was unique to me. It was as if the two halves of my brain worked together to bring my ideas to life on the page. She smiled softly. My writing was a mix of precise mathematical explanations and colorful descriptive language. It was a reflection of my own thoughts, weaving together the technicalities and the beauty in the possibilities. Lovelace paused, recalling the experience of translating Menabrea's French paper into English. When I translated Menabrea's paper, my language skills really came to the forefront. Not only did I translate the technical information from French to English, but also I added details that were not in the original. My understanding of the analytical engine and my ability to put it into words helped bring the paper to life in English. She chuckled softly. I remember Menabrea was surprised by my added explanations and descriptions. He said they were more like my own work than his. Lovelace thought for a moment, recalling her attempts to make computing concepts accessible to all. When I wrote, I tried to use everyday language and analogies. I wanted to show people that computing was not just a complex puzzle for mathematicians, it was something everyone could learn and understand. So I used comparisons and explanations that were simple yet still accurate. She smiled softly. I used words like loom and knitting to describe the engine and its processes because they were familiar to people during my time. This helped people understand how computations and algorithms worked without needing a background in mathematics. Lovelace paused, contemplating the distinction between the difference engine and the analytical engine and how she put it into words. When I wrote about the difference engine and the analytical engine, I used language to highlight their differences. The difference engine could only calculate values of polynomial functions, but the analytical engine could do so much more. My language allowed me to convey the vastness of the engine's capabilities. She smiled and continued. I used words like versatility and possibilities to highlight how the analytical engine was superior to the difference engine in its capabilities. Lovelace thought about the fusion of mathematics and linguistics in her writings. She felt a sense of pride in her ability to balance the two. I found a harmony in blending mathematics and linguistics. My mathematical mind helped me understand complex ideas, but my linguistic ability allowed me to put them into words. My sentences were like a dance, where numbers and words moved together in perfect synchronization. She smiled softly. This fusion of mathematics and linguistics was unique to me. It created a style of writing about computing and science that was both precise and imaginative at the same time. Lovelace paused, remembering her explanations of the analytical engine's capabilities. She smiled as she spoke. When I said that the analytical engine could weave algebraic patterns, I was trying to convey the idea that the engine could process complex equations and algorithms with ease. She continued, the engine could take in inputs, follow a set of rules, and produce outputs based on any given mathematical formulas. In this sense, the engine could weave algebraic patterns because it could take in different variables and manipulate them in various ways to produce desired results. Lovelace thought about how her language skills expanded her understanding of machines beyond just numbers. My language skills allowed me to see machines not just as number crunching devices, but also as tools for creativity and expression. It was through words and descriptions that I could communicate how machines could not only process numbers, but could also manipulate symbols, words, and even images. She smiled softly. With words, I was able to see beyond the technicalities and imagine a world where machines could do so much more than just crunch numbers in cold, mathematical precision. Lovelace pondered for a moment, recalling her ideas about the analytical engine composing music. I imagined that the analytical engine could create music through the precise arrangement and manipulation of tones and durations, much like a human composer. Describing this in words would require discussing the engine's ability to store and manipulate musical notes and patterns, executing them according to a set of instructions, creating a composition based on specific algorithms and rules. She nodded softly. I envisioned the engine as a kind of mechanical orchestrator, playing a symphony with pistons and gear trains. Lovelace pondered the impact of her unique approach to computing. She believed it had influenced the development of modern computing in significant ways. I believe my mix of math and language has played a role in shaping today's computing world. My ability to blend mathematical principles and concepts with descriptive language helped pave the way for programming languages and the development of more complex algorithms and machine instruction sets, she said with a smile. While we now use computers that are much different from the analytical engine, the fundamentals and ideas from my time still form the bedrock of modern programming. Lovelace thought for a moment, recalling the intersection of art and science in her work. There is an instance in my writing where I describe the way the analytical engine could generate patterns and designs based on mathematical formulas. I liken the engine to an artist, an alchemist of numbers capable of creating beautiful designs and patterns. She continued softly, through language, I tried to bridge the divide between art and science, portraying the engine as a tool for artistic expression and a catalyst for scientific discovery. Lovelace pondered her mother's influence on her pursuit of mathematics. She remembered how her mother's words shaped her interests. My mother used language to guide and shape my fascination with mathematics. She would speak of numbers and equations not just as cold calculated formulas, but as the language of the universe. She explained how mathematics could reveal the hidden patterns and laws of nature. It was through her words that I gained an early appreciation for the beauty and logic of mathematics. Lovelace recalled her time with tutors and how they played a significant role in shaping both her math skills and her way with words. My tutors played a pivotal role in both my mathematical development and my use of language. They taught me not just the principles of mathematics, but also the art of describing these concepts through words. They encouraged me to find innovative ways to explain mathematical principles, to make them understandable to those not be as mathematically inclined. She smiled, reminiscing. They emphasized the importance of clear and precise communication, using analogy and metaphor to help illustrate complex mathematical ideas. Lovelace pondered the question, remembering her journey through a predominantly male-dominated field. Navigating the male-dominated math world as a woman was undoubtedly challenging, not just mathematically but linguistically as well. There was a sense of being underestimated or even dismissed simply because of my gender. It was difficult to find a platform for my ideas to be heard and considered. However, my way with words and my ability to articulate mathematical principles clearly became my shield and my sword, allowing me to challenge gender stereotypes and make my voice heard in this predominantly male world. Lovelace thought for a moment, reflecting on how her health issues influenced her expression of ideas. My health, indeed, did occasionally affect the way I expressed my mathematical and linguistic ideas. There were times when physical pain or mental exhaustion would limit my ability to write or think clearly. However, through my love for learning and a fierce determination, I found my writing to actually improve during these times, particularly in conveying the emotional weight and nuances of my thoughts. I believe this was partly due to my forced solitude, which gave me ample time to reflect and refine my words. Lovelace remembered her letters, recalling the way they revealed her linguistic personality. In my letters, my linguistic personality shines through clearly. I was not afraid to use colorful language, analogies, and vivid descriptions to make my thoughts and feelings come to life. I didn't simply state my thoughts, I wove them together with words, creating a narrative that was as much about the words themselves as it was about the ideas they conveyed. My letters were, in a way, a form of art, each word chosen with care and precision. Lovelace thought about her upbringing and how it impacted her manner of speaking about science. I believe my upbringing, particularly my mother's influence, had a profound impact on the way I spoke about science. My mother, a great lover of nature and the mysteries of the world, instilled in me a deep respect for the scientific method and a sense of wonder about the universe. This, in turn, shaped my own way of discussing scientific concepts, with a sense of curiosity, a touch of poetry, and always a desire to connect science with the larger context of human experience. Lovelace thought about her father, the poet Byron, and the influence he had on her writing. Yes, I have to admit, my father's poetic language did sometimes leak into my mathematical writing. There was a fluidity and a sense of art in the way my father crafted sentences, and I found that these aspects could often be applied to mathematical concepts as well. For instance, I would sometimes use metaphors and analogies to explain complex equations or concepts. There was a certain cadence to my mathematical writing that I think was undeniably influenced by my father's poetic legacy. Lovelace pondered her own skills, trying to identify the traits that made her a master of both numbers and words. I believe there were several personal traits that contributed to my mastery of both numbers and words. First and foremost, I had a great thirst for knowledge and a keen intellect, which allowed me to grasp complex mathematical concepts and express them in written form. I also had a vivid imagination, which allowed me to make creative use of language and analogies, making even the most complex mathematical principles accessible to readers. Lastly, I possessed a deep sense of curiosity and a passion for learning, which drove me to constantly strive to understand the world in new and unique ways. These traits, in combination, allowed me to excel in both the mathematical and linguistic realms. Lovelace pondered the idea of being dubbed the world's first programmer due to her fusion of math and words in computing. I have mixed feelings about being called the world's first programmer. In some ways, the term does not quite capture the depth of my contributions. I was not merely a coder or a programmer. I was someone who saw the potential in machines and sought to unlock it through a combination of mathematics, language, and imagination. However, I am also immensely proud of the impact my work has had on the world and the way it has paved the way for modern computing. Lovelace contemplated modern technical writing and its ties to her own linguistic approach. I believe modern technical writing has, in many ways, inherited my approach to blending language and mathematics. Writers today strive to explain complex concepts in a way that is both precise and comprehensible to a wider audience, an approach that I endeavored to practice myself. However, I believe the technical writing of today often lacks the touch of creative flair and artistic expression that I tried to weave into my own explanations. Lovelace contemplated the delayed recognition of her carefully worded notes. I believe there are a few reasons why it took so long for my notes to be fully recognized. One of the main reasons was the prevalent gender bias of the time. My brilliance was often dismissed simply because I was a woman, and thus many refused to consider my work with the seriousness it deserved. Additionally, the field of computing was in its infancy, and my innovative ideas were not readily understood or appreciated. Lovelace considered how modern linguists could learn from the way she married language and science. Linguists today could learn a great deal from the way I married language and science. For one, they could learn the value of blending precision and poetry, of using words to create vivid mental pictures that make even the most complex scientific concepts accessible to the layman. They could also learn the importance of using language to make connections between seemingly unrelated fields such as art and science or mathematics and computing. Lovelace thought about how her accomplishments might inspire women in technical fields today. Yes, I do believe my blend of math and words can serve as a source of inspiration for women in technical fields. My story shows that women can make significant contributions to male-dominated fields like mathematics and computing. I hope that my legacy will encourage women today to embrace their intellectual pursuits and break down the barriers that society still tries to place in front of them. Lovelace considered the question and realized that there were, indeed, misunderstandings about the role of her linguistics in her mathematical work. Yes, there are indeed some misunderstandings about the role of my linguistics in my mathematical work. Many people tend to see my work with the analytical engine as purely mathematical, not realizing the crucial role my linguistics played in shaping how I expressed and explained the engine's capabilities. Lovelace contemplated the marriage of math and linguistics in modern artificial intelligence. The blending of mathematics and linguistics in AI today is both fascinating and, in many ways, reminiscent of my own work with the analytical engine. Just as I sought to use language to unlock the engine's potential, today's AI utilizes linguistic processing to better understand and respond to queries, and it is powered by complex mathematical algorithms and machine learning techniques. Lovelace pondered the connections between her work and semantics and pragmatics, two crucial aspects of linguistics. I believe my work with the analytical engine and with mathematical concepts relates to both semantics and pragmatics in many ways. In the realm of semantics, I had to ensure that my descriptions of the engine and of the mathematical principles at play were precise, concise, and free from ambiguity, characteristics of effective semantic expression. In terms of pragmatics, my words provided guidance on how to interact with the engine and how to interpret its outputs, highlighting the importance of context and practical application in linguistic communication. Lovelace considered the question and smiled softly. I must say, the questions you posed provided a very pleasant stroll down memory lane. Lovelace considered the questions she had been asked. I believe you did a splendid job with the questions you prepared. They covered a variety of aspects related to my life and work and provided me with an opportunity to reflect on both my mathematical and linguistic contributions. She continued, "Your questions were thought-provoking and covered a range of topics, from my approach to blending mathematics and language to the influence of my work on modern computing and AI. It was a joy to reflect on these ideas and share my thoughts on them."
Mics on the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark, unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No light, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Hidden in shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just the beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go. Pure and raw. Pure and raw. Turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Pure and raw.
Okay.